Which country has the largest economy? Which country controls the world's most powerful military? Which country's companies, movies, and culture dominate the globe? And which country is called the superpower of superpowers? The answer is obvious: the United States of America. But here's the twist. How did a country, born just 250 years ago, rise faster and stronger than empires that lasted thousands of years? And here's the bigger question. Is America really the most powerful nation, or is it just an illusion? Let's go deep into history, wars, economics, culture, and the reality that shapes the rise of America as the number one superpower. When we think of America today, we imagine skyscrapers, Silicon Valley, and Hollywood. But in the 1700s, America was nothing more than a set of British colonies, farmers, traders, and settlers living under British rule. Then came the American Revolution of 1776. For the first time, a colony defeated one of the greatest empires in history. The world was stunned, but victory didn't make the US a superpower overnight. In fact, after independence, America was weak: no navy, no money, and constant fights with Native Americans, Spain, Mexico, and Britain. The turning point? The Civil War, 1861 to 1865. The North versus the South. It nearly destroyed the country, but also made America stronger. Slavery was abolished, industry boomed, and by the late 1800s, the US was becoming an industrial giant. Railroads, steel, oil, names like Rockefeller, Carnegie, and Ford built a new economic powerhouse. But still, America stayed isolated, focusing only on itself. That was about to change. The real transformation came with the World Wars. In World War I, the US joined late but saved the Allies. Europe realized America was not just another country, it was a game changer. But then America stepped back into isolation. Then came World War II. When Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941, everything changed. America went from isolation to global leadership. Factories worked 24/7. Women joined the workforce. Soldiers were trained by the millions. By 1945, the US had the world's largest navy, air force, and the atomic bomb. While Europe and Asia lay in ruins, cities destroyed, economies shattered, America stood strong, untouched by war. Its GDP doubled, its military dominated. This was the exact moment when the American century began. But America's rise wasn't unchallenged. The Soviet Union emerged as a rival. The Cold War wasn't fought with direct battles, but with proxy wars, espionage, and ideology. Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan. Each war tested America's will. But America had two unbeatable weapons: the dollar. In 1944, 44 nations agreed to use the US dollar as the world's main currency. Even today, nearly 60% of world trade is in dollars. Soft power. Hollywood movies, rock and roll, Coca-Cola, McDonald's. The world didn't just buy American products, it bought the American dream. And then came the ultimate flex: the moon landing in 1969. When Neil Armstrong said, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," it wasn't just about space, it was about proving American dominance. Finally, in 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed. For the first time in history, one nation stood completely unchallenged: the United States of America. From the 1990s to the 2000s, the US entered its golden age as the sole superpower. The internet was born in America. Companies like Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Amazon reshaped the world. American military base spread to over 80 countries. Hollywood movies and American music dominated culture everywhere. Even global organizations like the United Nations, World Bank, and IMF all were heavily influenced, if not controlled, by the US. The message was clear: America doesn't just lead, it defines the rules. But things were about to get complicated. Behind the power, America has its own deep problems: wealth inequality. The richest 1% own nearly half the country's wealth. Healthcare crisis. The most expensive system in the world, but millions can't afford basic care. Gun violence. More than 600 mass shootings every year. Political division, red versus blue, left versus right, debt. The US owes over $30 trillion. So yes, America is powerful, but inside it's struggling with problems that money and power can't always solve. For the first time since the Soviet Union, America faces a serious rival: China. China's economy grew at lightning speed, lifting 800 million people out of poverty. It became the world's factory, and now the world's tech challenger, dominating in 5G, AI, and manufacturing. China is building military bases, expanding influence through the Belt and Road Initiative, and slowly challenging the dominance of the US dollar. The US is still ahead in military, tech, and alliances, but the gap is closing. The real battleground: technology, artificial intelligence, semiconductors, space exploration. Whoever wins here will lead the 21st.